Welcome to the Landscaping Podcast. My name is Joel Barnett and I'm your host. And in today's episode, I'm talking with Kath Meier from Virtual Landscape Design and also Hunter Landscaping Design and Construct. So, Kath and her husband Nigel started Hunter Landscaping 30 years ago. And it's just absolutely fascinating to hear how it was when it started, when it was just Nigel for the first year, to what they've created now, and just the diversity that they've got working within the company as well. I mentioned in the chat with her how you think you've seen everything in the industry, and then you hear about how many different elements that you can have to a business which are unique to others. So yeah, didn't know what to expect from the chat, but it was way more fascinating than I could have imagined. And there's a section in the chat with Kath where she talks about her own house and how proud she is of it and what they've created there and the reasons behind that. And I think it's a good reminder of the opportunity that what we have as people who work in the industry, what you can achieve for people. So she talks about her own designing her own place, but you've also got the opportunity to create something special for other people as well. So it's good to reflect on those things every now and then. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy the chat as much as I did with Kath Meier. Kath, thank you for joining us on the Landscaping Podcast. My first question for you is, how did you start in the industry?
So we've been in business now for 30 years. Well, I probably say 29 because I joined Nigel, my husband, when he was a year in. And we basically started from, well, he was building fences at the time, and it was right when the vineyard boom happened. So we went through the boom and the bust of the vineyard, and I guess it just all sort of morphed into the landscape industry. And we moved to the Hunter Valley in 2004. And that's when we started up the sort of fencing and landscaping back then. We were known as Hunter Fencing and Landscaping. And Nigel got his trade, and I was still teaching. I'm a school teacher by trade at that point. Scone is I was born and bred. So we brought ourselves and our children back there. And we just started the business from scratch. He learnt from the best. He had a great guy paver that taught him all his paving skills, but he didn't actually have the trade at that point. So he went through and did his trade by recognised prior learning. We spent hours and hours taking photos, collecting documents, and basically went through the whole trade that way. In 2009, I left the teaching industry because our business had started to grow, and I did my trade as a structural landscaper. I've been out there with them as well. I was mainly in the office, I guess, doing the books and speaking to customers. And we were kind of really a two-man show or man and woman show, with a few sort of comer and goers of, contractors and employees and stuff like that. But we kind of were just running it, and we just started to develop this love of, well, landscaping and then landscape design. So we found that so many customers, they knew what they liked and they knew what they wanted, but they couldn't put it together. So we just started to do it, and we were basically just doing it like we'd go out to quote a retaining wall, and we'd just start talking about the rest of their landscape and end up putting this great landscape design together.
Did you do the
And
design
then,
for free at the start?
yes, we did.
Yeah. It's very
And
common.
then, yes, and then we actually put on a business coach in about 2000, just before I finished my teaching, because he was the one that kind of encouraged me to, because I was still doing the books, like I was basically two full-time jobs, and he encouraged me to take the leap, and I did. And he said, you know what, you're doing stuff for free that's actually a very viable product that people want. And so we started doing it, and charging a very minimal amount for it, really, and doing it by sketch, like taking out, just a sketchbook and doing all of that. And then we said, sketching's taking so long, and you know what it's like, you might do this total design and one little thing's wrong and you've got to rub it all out. And we're using measuring wheels, or sometimes I'd go out to the design and I'd have one end of the tape and just put it together. So I ended up researching like CAD programs, and I found that everything was very building based. So I researched and researched, and I found this Canadian product called Dynascape. I don't know, have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. So I contacted them up, did a free demo, and basically taught myself with their tutorials on how to do it, and was waking up at 2:30 in the morning to do a course in Toronto, and just, sort of, I guess I could say, became quite handy at it and started producing these amazing CAD designs. But we found a bit of a challenge there because we were still using a measuring wheel and a measuring tape to do the actual measure ups. And then when I'd go to put it all together, the lines wouldn't meet. So you'd have this. So I was just guessing, So they were definitely construction plans, but mainly for our team. They'd sort of modify and do things on the site that from the measure, because a pencil mark is so wide, and that can, a few pencil marks out and then
Yeah.
you've lost the whole thing. So we went out. So we thought, no, we can't keep doing this. So we ended up getting a total station and started using that. And we still use that to today. We still use our total station today, and we still use Dynascape. We are looking at now moving on, but Dynascape's been amazing, and it creates very beautiful plans, very, very, because it's all landscape based. So it does create beautiful plans. So then we kept doing that. And we then took fencing out of our name. We became Hunter Landscaping Design plus Construct, starting to grow, putting, or like we started to employ architects and doing more designs, taking them further afield. And then COVID hit, and we were seen as an essential work, so our contractors could still go out, but we couldn't really visit to do designs. So we started to do a few online off surveys and started to space them out, and found that it was really amazing that we could actually do these designs without going to site and taking our survey equipment out. We could use their survey plans, and we started to do that a little bit. And then once COVID sort of went away, we went back to our old ways, and we'd go and visit and do everything, which is great in our area because we can, and it does give, the total station does give, you take levels, and it's a lot of detail, and it's really great for our construction teams. But after COVID, when you couldn't travel overseas, we went on a big around we flew into Ayers Rock and went all the way from Ayers Rock down to Adelaide. And we stopped in this little small place called William Creek Hotel. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's just out of Cooper Pedy. And we met this lovely couple there from Alice Springs, and we were showing them what we did. We're just having a nice conversation. And they said, gosh, we don't have anyone in Alice Springs that can do that. Gosh, I wish we had somebody. And we just went, we can do that. We can design from anywhere, for anywhere in Australia, remotely. So we started to put all that together. The rest of the holiday, we had our iPad out, brainstorming, going crazy with it. And that was the January of 2023, and we launched Virtual Landscape Design Australia in October 2023. So I guess in a nutshell, that's how it all sort of sprang. So we still run our very successful Hunter Landscaping Design plus Construct in the Hunter, and we have a fabulous construction team that sort of service north of the Hunter and south of the Hunter. But we're now very much in the thick of growing this fabulous beast of a business, Virtual Landscape Design Australia.
And whereabouts is the Hunter Valley within New South Wales? Because it seems like it's quite a bustling area.
Yeah, so we're very well known for its wines, the Colburn, in the Hunter Valley region. We're about 2.5 hours, I guess, northwest of Sydney along the New England Highway. We live in Scone, which is the horse capital of Australia, which in fact the Scone Cup is on tomorrow, and we're in the midst of the horse festival. So yeah, basically that's where we are. It's a very difficult place for plants because we get the very harsh winters, like -6 frosts, because we're the foothills of the Barrington, and we also get the hottest of hot summers. I mean, we can get 45s and really hot and dry. So it is a challenging place to pick plants, which is, I must say, a very welcome treat to be able to pick plants in other areas where you can just grow anything. I mean, and the diversity is just so exciting. So it's amazing to be able to just work in different areas. And I just love when we have clients ring up, and I always, whenever I'm, having a look at where they live, I always Google it and find out like the populations and where they're at. And I just go, oh wow, this is going to be a fun one because, you can grow anything here. So yeah, so it is a very fun, fun business to be in.
Yeah. So if you get someone to ring up like they're from Cairns, you think, oh, we could do this remotely, but I think I might have to come and measure it just to make sure because it's nice weather and
Oh, well, we have
yeah.
visited people. We don't have to, like, because we do promote that we are a remote, like, and we do everything remote. Basically, if we have a survey plan, we can get it pretty accurate. But if we don't have a survey plan, and we do a lot of existing builds and revamps, we use both a mixture of Google Earth and SketchUp plugins to get the boundaries and the areas, and it is about 90% correct. But it is a conceptual thing, but it definitely is, like, if people DIY, we have a lot of DIY clients, but also contractors can definitely pick it up and have a look at it. But they need to do their due diligence and work out that. But the visiting thing is a little bit of a wish list for Nigel and I, because we do love traveling, and we have been to Tasmania. We're working with a client down there, Katrina Pugh from Renault Life. I don't know if you've heard her, and we've done her design, and we went down and visited because we were we were doing a trek in Tasmania, and it's fabulous. I just love it when you go there and they're actually putting it all to life. So yes, it's definitely something we do want to do, is start getting the map out and seeing the pins and go, yep, we'll duck in there on one
Yeah.
of our trips. Yeah, so it is nice to actually see it come to life.
And with Dynascape, how does that compare in price and payment terms compared to like the CAD and Vectorworks kind of programs? Like, do you pay yearly for it, or is it just a
Uh,
one-off?
well, you can, like, it's sort of like anything. It's on a sliding scale. So I pay yearly. You can pay monthly. It is, I would say, a little bit cheaper than Vectorworks and things like that. But that's only because it doesn't actually offer all of those sort of things. You do have to, like, it does have a SketchUp capability. With the rendering, we need to use other platforms. And I don't know how to use Vectorworks or CAD. Like, I've just been trained in Dynascape. And
Yeah.
so I am a little bit I do have it as a favorite, but my other architects do say that CAD is a lot easier and a lot quicker because it's got all those, the control shortcuts and things like that, whereas Dynascape doesn't. But it's still my baby. I sort of started. It's hard for me to get rid of it, but I know that we're moving forward, and I don't do a lot of the Dynascape designs, the actual CAD planning anymore anyway. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
happy
the
to move on.
same. I started using CAD when I took over the business, even just a little bit before. So that was 2008.
Yep,
And I want to move to Vectorworks, but it's such a big jump to actually then start to use another program, even though they're pretty similar.
yep,
It's
yep.
you just been using something for 17 years. It's hard to change.
Absolutely. And that's why I don't think that, I mean, I've been sitting in on all our sessions, but I don't think I'm going to learn. I mean, I can do my plant selection and things like that without using it, because at Dynascape at the moment, I do all my plant selection through that, but I can do it without that. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I think I'm fine. I don't need to learn it because, yeah, I do love Dynascape. But yeah, it's time for people that are smarter than me to take that over.
And with the total station, I've heard there's a fella in the States who I follow, and I think he'd gone recently, and there's few people who use them over there. They're quite an expensive piece of machinery. Like they were
But
talking about how much they were their dollars, and I know we're always a lot more expensive. So it's a
they're
fair
invaluable
investment.
though.
Yeah.
It's been the best thing we've ever done. It was funny because the how we got into it is we were doing a design and construction for a surveyor down in East Maitland, and he said, and he was seeing how we were doing. He's like, "You're crazy, guys! Like, what are you doing? You need to get one of these." And he said, "Look, I've got a second hand one." So he sold it to us for second hand, and we probably used that for about 3 years, I guess. And then we went, oh, it's time for us, because we started to have to get it calibrated more often and things like that. So we went out and and purchase the new one. But the service we got was really good. Like they come to, and we still get online, like on-call service. But it's so good because you can go out and do the design, but then when you go to construction, you can then lay like the design back out for the construction team. So it is very we we don't know, it's like the mobile phone. I don't know how we dealt with it without
Yeah.
for all those years. So
So
yeah.
is it like a GPS kind of staff and it's got like an iPad connected to it
Yeah.
so
Yep.
you'll go to the job and measure it all up if it's a in-person one that you're doing
Yep.
and or even doing the plan off a surveying plan and you'll mark where everything is and then when someone's on site they can like use the iPad and measure things off that and
Yeah.
get exact
Yeah,
sort of measurements of
it's
heights
exact.
and yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's very exact. And the model that we've got now is kind of, I mean, you can still use it for building and things like that, but it does have some capabilities that is directed to landscaping, which is really good as well. Yeah, it's amazing, and it's changed our whole business, and we just do things so quick, much more quickly. Like, and if you make a mistake, you don't have to rub it out. And I don't have to scratch my head and try and make lines meet that have been done incorrectly. So yeah, it is an amazing thing. I definitely highly recommend it for anyone
And
that's looking to get into it.
can you also have that sort of connected to like I don't know if it's a rover on an excavator so that you're sort of digging at the right
Oh,
height and
we haven't done that. That's not something we've done, but I imagine, I'm not sure. Can't
yeah.
comment on that one because we haven't done it. No.
That's probably an additional thing as an extra
Yeah,
that's the cost
maybe.
of it. But it's
Yeah.
more if you're doing like mass excavation. So but basically it's just like a GPS on the excavator arm so that you keep
Knows
digging
the
down until
depth.
you hear it beeping and then you know you're
Oh,
at the right height
yeah, right.
and that can be that's not just like level across the site. That's based on the topography that you've entered into that program, so it knows where you are on the site and how deep you to go into certain areas. And yeah,
Yeah, wow.
pretty
Oh,
wild stuff.
I mean, it's probably got the capability, but
Yeah,
it's like a lot of those things you
yeah,
kind of only stick to what you know and need. Yeah, and initially we only used it to sort of do the design, but now we're actually using it in construction, which is kind of a new thing because that was just the next level that we had to take it to. But the guys love it because they just think this is great. We don't have to get the tape measure out and do all those sort of
yeah.
things as much as they used to. So yeah.
And I saw on your Instagram page you got a fair few staff. So how did the progression start from when it was just the two of you to start putting people on to build to where
I
you are?
I'm sure you know what that's like. We had to slay a few dragons to get to the
Yeah,
princesses. We have an amazing team. Like in our, I guess I'll talk for both our companies, but Hannah Landscaping Design and Construct, we have two site supervisors for North and South and an operations manager. And then we have the tradesmen underneath and some labourers and things like that. And they're I can't speak highly enough of them. Like, and a lot of them, like we've had one guy for I think 13 years now. And then another guy and these is what's our site supervisor, and our other site supervisor, I think, is going 8, 9 years now. So, and it's a true mark. They're good leaders. The guys love them, yeah, so that's been great, but it has been a long journey. We have had to, make some difficult decisions and have very clear policies and things like that. So the team on the site's great. We've got a very close-knit office. We sit in an open plan office. We have two architects. We have an office manager. Our operations manager works in and out of the office. And then Nigel and I, and then we have our marketing girl, Kira, and Olivia, who's actually my daughter. She works for us one day a week doing the estimating and quoting and things like that, plus also helps out with the marketing. So that's been amazing. We have overseas teams. So we have two fantastic, a couple in the Philippines. So one's an architect and one is actually our quantity surveyor, and she does all our bill of quantities. And then we have a Bangladeshian husband and wife team. And so the Bangladeshian Israt is an architect, and Lim, the Filipino husband, he is an architect. We have taught them. You spent years of training. They've been with us now for going on for 4 years, I think, both of them. And they have a team under them. They're absolutely amazing. My office manager meets with them once a week, and they're brilliant. And I mean, now some of like if because I still do a lot of the plant selection, but there's times that clients will have changes and I'll just send the email that the client sent through, and they're doing it. That they're like the version of that. I would have picked exactly that, So they're wonderful. And then our virtual landscape design team, so a lot of our office sort of crossover with that. And then we do have an Egyptian partner who he's a project engineer, and I brought him into Hunter Landscaping to start getting some Gantt charts and making our job sites more productive, and looking at cost savings and things like that. And he had a look. We sort of presented the idea of virtual landscape, and he said, "This is great. Like, I'd be happy to invest." And so he's come on board, and he's got a lot of contacts in Egypt and all over the world. So our main man that sort of organizes our designers is in Egypt and has worked for a company called Decorella. It's an interior company, American based. They've got an amazing website, and he sort of does that. So I'm very proud of our team. I think we've done a fantastic job in building them, and there is not a mug amongst them. They're all, and it's taken me a lot of years to be able to say that, so which is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
yeah.
wild
So
to reflect on, how you started with just the two of you, and then all the amount of different staff and different places they're at. Yeah, it's
yes,
wild to think of how
yeah,
it can
yeah.
grow like that.
What do they say? An overnight success. It's just taken 30 years to build.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. And it's funny because Nigel and I we work really well together. Like, people say, hey, how do you work with your husband, man? But we work so well together. We sort of complement each other. There's times when we know we need to go, you know what, stop. We need to not talk about this anymore. But that's very rare.
So
I'm just trying.
what's the role of yourself and Nigel within the business?
I've asked myself that a lot. It's been a lot of things. Like, Nigel's very heavily construction based, so he was on the tools for years and years and years. And I think it's funny, like, as we grew, because we are both so passionate about what we do, and we're both really hard workers. And a lot of our employee problems was because he would burn them out. Like, he would go, "No, guys, we're going to stay. We're going to, and people would just go, man, I can't keep up." And he'd go, "What? I'm a lot older than you. You need to do." So when he sort of, and he taught our site supervisors, but they are much more, friendly on the guys. Like, and that's been amazing as well for him to be able to step. So he was in construction for a lot of years, and then has just slowly stepped out to the point where he doesn't actually go to construction. He does all the design work basically on site. We now do have another person that's just starting to do the design, and he takes, like, one of our architects with us to do the total station, and then he does the design. He does all the client work. He loves talking to the clients and creating these things. He paints stuff on the ground so they can actually stand where their pool's going to be, walk down the garden path, do all that sort of stuff. So he's very construction based and placing everything so it flows. I do all the pretty stuff. Put the plants in. I look at the what the style of the client is, what they want to achieve in their landscape, and I do all that. So I put all those beautiful things together, which is fun for me. But then, as we've grown, like, I've been the bookkeeper, the on-site digging the holes, like planting the plants and doing all that sort of stuff as well. And yeah, so we've both got ourselves into a position now where we can do what we love in the business rather than all the other stuff. We've got some really great people that if I'm honest, do it better than us anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
good when you can actually focus on what you do best rather than stuff like this. You could do that kind of stuff,
Yep.
but yeah, if you get the person who does that best, then you can concentrate on what you do best or enjoy. That's
It's
best.
a,
Yeah.
and that's exactly right. And I feel like we've grown as a business in probably the last 5 years since we've done that, because we are focusing on the things that we love. Like, the other things, we had to do, but you couldn't focus as much on those things. You had to share the load. So we now focus a lot on those things that we are passionate about and what we want to do. Like, we want to we believe that landscape design is as essential as house design. You wouldn't put a house together without thinking about where things go. it's crazy. People have the most beautiful houses, and you drive past, and their landscape looks like, a dog's breakfast. Like it's crazy. Whereas, what's the first thing you see when you drive into your yard?
Mm.
It's your landscape. Isn't that what you want? Like, so that's what I'm passionate about. Landscape to me is where, especially as Australians, we spend a lot of time outside, and it brings a lot of joy. I mean, Nigel and I were lucky enough when we moved to Scone, we found our sort of forever home, and it was basically brand new. Like it was 18 months old, but relatively clean slate outside, which was perfect. And we have created an absolute oasis in our yard. I love it. It's every time we have automatic gates, and we put those in about 6 years ago now or something. And it was always my dream to have these regal automated gates. And I just drive up to my home, and when I park, I just can feel myself go, oh, I'm home. And we have four daughters. I'm going to brag a bit here, and four grandchildren. And I was babysitting them the other day, and we went out to our cubby house that we got them. It's one of those prefab cubby houses that we bought in 2005 all the girls got it for Christmas. And we got this in 2005. And I took our grandchildren out, and I was sitting down on a retaining wall that we've got, and they're playing it's got a sand pit underneath. We're playing it, they're playing in it, and I'm just watching them, got the baby in the pram and the rest of the playing around. And my little he's going up the stairs, and he's looking out, and they call me Gigi, Gigi, pool, pool. And I'm like, yeah, pool, it's too cold for a pool. And I had this beautiful thought of, I've watched my own children play in this cubby house, swim in this pool. And here I am giving this joy again to my next generation. And it just dawned on me like the importance of that. And I love stories, and I love memories, and I think that that's what landscaping is all about, and that's what design's all about, to make, and that what I've got is not special to everybody, but everybody can have their own special, I think. And
Yeah.
I think the outdoor life is where it's at. Like, so that's what I think anyway, and that's what we're trying to spread across Australia.
Yeah, I remember it happening like a while ago, like probably more at least 15 years ago. I talked to clients and they said they wanted to create their landscaping so that their kids would hang around, like that somewhere for their kids to want to be. And now my kids are 10, 12, and 14, and that's exactly what I'm doing as well because I wanted to be at home as long as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just wanted to
And
create
then they
something.
come back, you know?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
Rather than just
So
having rectangular grass and a border of plants, you want something to be a bit more special and something
yeah,
that's welcoming for them.
yeah, absolutely. And we didn't do it overnight. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember this is we moved in 2004. We got the cubby house in 2005, and I think we started to build the pool maybe about 2006, I think. And I mean, our pool area is beautiful. Like it's like a resort, like it is like a beautiful resort. But I remember I had my youngest daughter, and she's on my hip. She's probably about one or something. And we had all the black crusher dust, and all the frame was there for the pool house, and it was all great. But we run out of money. We couldn't go any further. And the kids are swimming in the pool. I've got the baby. There's black gravel everywhere. And I just said, why can't we have a pool like everybody else with just a pool and paving, and that's it? And so, and I remember just being so upset at that time, just for that moment. And now I look back, and it probably took us, I reckon, 3.5 years to get the whole thing done, because we just, work and work and work on everyone else's yard. And then we come back and do a bit on ours. And now, I mean, gosh, that was well over a decade ago.
Mm.
And we've had two generations going through this now, and they all come back. We've spent Christmases, and yeah, and that's what it's all about as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I've
that's why
been
I love residential landscaping. I just love
yeah,
it.
so much more like heart in it and care.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, we've been at our house 2 years, just over 2 years ago now, and I've still got probably like a year and a half before I actually
Yeah.
finish the landscaping
Yes.
done.
Where do you live?
In Geelong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, I love Victoria.
I've got the pergola on, but I haven't lined it and I haven't done the wall behind it, and so there's a lot
I,
of
I
things I've got to get done.
I feel you. I feel you. How's your wife going with it? Is she okay? Is she on
She's
board
not a
with
big
it?
outside person anyway, so
Oh,
she doesn't
okay.
care as long as the inside's done. And
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
yeah, like we could put the grass down pretty quick, so kids can
yep,
run around on that. And I've done the underpaving, so there's it's not gravel, so
yes. That's
yeah,
the main thing.
you do the minimum
Yeah,
bits.
yeah, that's right. So they're not traipsing it through the house. Yeah,
Exactly.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And when you
cool.
mentioned that you've got crews that go north and south of the Hunter Valley, so how far do they travel in each direction?
So basically, we're doing a lovely big old farm in Willow Tree at the moment, which is sort of up Tamworth way, I guess. So I guess Tamworth, maybe Gunnedah out that way a little bit. So that's sort of north. So a north team kind of covers from that far up. So say Tamworth all the way to Singleton, which is down in the middle of the New England Highway, and then that's where we kind of cross over. So north and south will come to both Singleton. So Singleton's great because, we can sort of share the load, or if, the North team's caught up, the South team will come that way. If the South team's caught up, vice versa. Then South basically goes all the way from Singleton down to Newcastle. So we do, yeah. So that's kind of the area that we've grown. We've got a great team, and we've kept it to that. I mean, we're always looking. If somebody comes along and they're amazing, we'll take them on. We've sponsored people. We've got a Zimbabwean bricklayer with his beautiful family, and we've got a Scottish guy that he's a bricklayer as well. And then we're in the process of sponsoring an English guy that's also a bricklayer, because they just correspond, and we do a lot of brickwork.
All right.
Yeah, and then our two of our architects in the office are actually from Peru. Yeah,
It's the most multicultural
yeah,
landscape business I've ever heard of.
yeah. Well, they're amazing. They're talented. We employ on talent, and they are talented. So, and very open to our ideas, and the way I think they're really creative and put their own ideas into it. But I mean, I guess we are a bit, we like what we like. So and it's very important for us. I think this is the other thing that is very important for us is I find with building and like internal trends come and go. I find with landscaping, it's more of a taste thing. Like it's more of a style or a feeling. So, you might have childhood memories of things. So I find it's based less on trends and more on that feeling and that people's experience that you get. So we listen, like our clients send inspiration, and we get them to do a major criteria checklist, and they send little blurbs, briefs. In the virtual design, they do a walkthrough talk through video, which is basically commentating us on what's in their landscape, what they want to keep, what they want to get rid of, what they need advice on, what's causing them grief at the moment. They talk us through the whole thing, and we listen, and you can really get a really great snapshot from exactly what people want just through listening to and joining all those aspects together. So what the place looks like now, what they want to achieve, what their style is, what they love, and then their inspiration, and then what our experience is to make it all flow together and fit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. It's a good idea getting the perspective of the client and listening to what they say rather because you might be looking at the project thinking this is what I can see, but
Mm,
it's almost irrelevant compared to what the client can see because they might see something that's terrible and you think it's not bad.
mm.
So you
That's
need to
exactly
kind of
right.
understand from their point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, and their reasoning. And when I love it, because when you get a walkthrough, talk through video, you can actually feel their frustration.
Mm.
Like you can, I hate this place. Like this is the place that, and I really want to love it because it's a great spot, but it just nothing works, and you can actually feel it. And I always say to all our guys that that's what you focus on. Pick that something that they are having a huge problem with. We've got to fix that problem because it's important. It's really important to get that right.
And what do you say when people ask if you've got any recommendations on who could build their landscape? Do you
Yeah,
get that much?
yes, we do. We're Because we're so young, and I have to admit we had a launch and we had a fail. We had a dive, like, because I mean, honestly, online shopping, how hard can it be? But it is hard. E-commerce is a lot different to face, and so we've learned a lot of lessons. And so as we are quite new and building, we are developing a contractor base. And we are like if somebody contacts us, like we've got a guy up sort of he services the hinterland and sort of Byron Bay and things like that. And we've just started to do a design for one of his clients. And that's our best case scenario. If we can start working and getting those contractors that want some help to do designs, and then vice versa, be able to, oh, we've got a client in your area, are you interested? So end goal is to develop that network. But as you know, we don't want to recommend somebody that we don't know and don't
Yeah.
trust because, there are a lot of people out there that don't do the right thing. So I guess basically what we do is we say if we've got somebody in that area, we will recommend. If we don't, we just give them do your due diligence, make sure they've got a license, look at their other work, make sure that the quote is very clear and concise. So we do give a bit of advice about that. And ultimately the end goal is to have someone everywhere in Australia that we can recommend or that can come to us and say, I want to construct it and I know what the client wants in my head and they know what they want in their head, but neither of us can picture it. So that's where we step in and go, okay, we can put it together because we're happy even if a design like a landscape design construct that can't do the render can come to us with their plan, even if it's a sketch, and then all the inspo or what products they've picked out, they want the Corten steel or, they want this particular paver, we can put it all together for them. So yeah, that's that. The end goal would be to get that because then that ticks our box because, we strongly believe everyone needs a design, but then you also need to be able to construct it as well. So once we get there, that'll be a very happy day. But we're building, it's
Yeah.
working, it's happening. So yeah.
And do you do any international designs, or does the Egyptian crew, are they sort of looking after that side of things, or how's that all work?
No, we don't do any international at this stage. Small steps. Australia's big enough at this moment. I mean, I think we would really love to venture into New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like that would probably be the next. But we've got it. We're going to get this right first. We've got a really great website at the moment which you can purchase off, but we're in the stages of building a coded website. So it's basically ours because at the moment we use like a separate platform as our portal, which is called Content Snare. It's basically that. That's how we snare people's content. They just load the stuff in and you can load as many images and all that sort of stuff. But the website that we're building is going to have the portal within that website so that everyone has a unique login, which they have a unique login now with Content Snare. It's just that it's separate. So once we get all that, then we're going to start, putting our feet in the water in other places. So yeah. But at the moment, because our team, our head guy's in Egypt, but then we've got other people everywhere. And they work off our training, and we've worked with them and shared our databases. I've done a lot of research on plants around Australia. We make sure that whenever we're choosing plants in Western Australia, for example, we're using stockists over there that we can that knowing that they can get that stuff. Same with landscape suppliers. If we're putting mulch or decorative gravel or river pebble or anything like that, we make sure that we document the local landscape supplier so that they can, if they're DIYing it, they know what the area is they've got to get, and then they go out and buy it, and then they take their shopping list for the plants and to the nursery and pick all that sort of stuff up. So yeah, that's a big job. So we've been working really hard on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's important though as well because there's no point specifying a plant that they can't get. Like they get all excited, think, "Oh, this is going to look amazing on the design." Then they go try and implement it, and it's
Yeah.
can't find that anywhere.
Yeah. And usually, like, I mean, I even do it in myself when a client here might recommend something that's from a childhood memory or something, and I try and implement it. And then I go to our wholesale nursery and they say, oh, it's going to cost a fortune to get here. I'm going to get it from Melbourne. I'm going to go, it's probably not going to grow here anyway. Like if you can't get it here, like from our wholesalers, like I know there's major nurseries that do those sort of generic ones that do grow more widely, but usually if it's something that they aren't getting readily, it's not
There's
going
a
to work
reason.
anywhere. And you
Yeah,
know what? That's what I say to people. There's always an alternative. Like you can always make something. You can plant the look rather than the variety. And there's always an alternative. Yeah, which is, and it's the same with, I don't know if you've ever gone on Pinterest and you find the thing that you are looking for and you go, yes. And you go into the little blue dot and you press on it, it's from the UK and you've got no hope of getting it here.
Yeah.
So we always make sure that any of the furniture that we put in, any of the stone paving, anything like that, can all be sourced within Australia and at a reasonable price of delivery. Like you're not going to put something here in New South Wales it's from Western Australia and it's going to cost them, a lot of money to get bought across the Nullarbor. So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of inspirational photos from clients getting a design done and they're like from Sydney plant, like their plant's going in Sydney. So
Mm,
there's the Kalanchoe copper spoons and the
mm,
Sansevieria. Like these things don't grow outside in Victoria. And I imagine they
no,
don't where you do either because it gets a bit colder in winter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That we always say that you could jump in the ute from Newcastle and drive to Scone, and you probably get rid of at least a dozen plants every town you go through.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. But there's options. There's lots of options, and I find species are getting like they are developing more varieties that can handle, more harsh things. But good
How
old
are
Australia
you doing much
still surviving well.
advertising for the virtual side of the things? Like, and how are you doing that?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of social media advertising, Google, things like that. We're working with some influencers that have aligned with us so that that I guess a lot people that are doing their own backyard, we might have seen, because because Kira's very young and my daughter's very young. And so they're right into that. And they go, oh, have you seen that someone's, putting in they've just bought their forever home and they'll go, we'll just reach out to them and we'll reach out to them and go, you know what, do you want to do a design and just trial it and see what
Yeah.
it's like? Because, it is reasonably new. So we're learning at a fast pace. There's things that we did 6 months ago that we're like, holy shit, get rid of that. So, so we're learning. So it's really great to have that, and then they do that threefold where they go, oh, check out what happens here. And, and then they give us honest feedback. They go, well, that didn't work. And we're like, yeah, you're right. So that's basically it at the moment. Marketing's expensive. And so as a startup, you've really got to, spend your money wisely, I guess. So yeah, but it is growing. It is growing. We have a lot of people that they always, long time followers, first time customers. So yeah, so social media is powerful, but Google, all that sort of stuff. We haven't done radio or television yet. We won't we won't pass that off. But Pinterest, we've just started advertising on Pinterest because
Yeah, that's good.
it is quite gratifying, even in hunter landscaping, when you're getting in their inspiration images, you're seeing your designs come back through.
Yeah.
It's really very gratifying.
We had that with one of my employees' wives. She was saying, "Oh, have a look at this fire pit." And he goes, "Yeah, we built that."
Yes, isn't that cool? That is the coolest.
But
Yeah, it
but yeah,
does
that
make you get a tingle.
targeting those influencers like is a great way to do it, especially with what you're doing because they got some of them got massive followings and they're like, and you think what are they famous for? And like they started an Instagram page and they're just sort of relatable.
Yeah,
And then yeah, if and they'll say like people will say, "Oh, your garden looks amazing. Who designed it?" And then yeah, you can get more with
yeah.
them. And all you've done is provide it probably a free design potentially.
That's exactly right. And we try and with the two girls, we try and target those people that are up and coming and sort of developing their career and starting to building them beautiful things. And like because we try and they keep their eye out and have a look at somebody that actually needs what we have
Yeah.
rather than just, oh, here, have this, we'll just do it. Like it's actually a very purposeful thing, which is great. And we pride ourselves on being able to provide exactly what they want.
And you mentioned you had a business coach back in the early days and before you came on full time. Have you used one throughout and you still use one now?
Yeah, wouldn't go without. Would
Yeah,
not go
right.
without. Yeah, yeah. We've had two. So we had one when we're very loyal people. So I guess we had our first for oh probably 8 years or so. Like, and then the next one we've had since we've changed over. Oh, they're just invaluable. And I guess it also builds a network as well. Like we come from Scone has 5,000 people in it. So there's not a lot of people that you can bounce your sort of ideas off. So we go to weekends away and spend, time setting our goals and workshopping, but also just learning like a lot from other clients and the business coaches, other clients, and they don't have to be in the same industry as you. I got a valuable thing that we implemented in our business many years ago now. And because you often, when you're having one of these sessions, they go, come with a problem that's frustrating you, and we're going to put it to the group and we're going to try and solve it. And our problem was that we got so booked up, and as classic tradesmen, you just were always trying to like keep everyone happy and make sure that, so somebody would ring up and go, yep, yep, your job's booked in. Yes. Look, it'd probably be about 4 weeks. 4 weeks had come, and then they ring and, yep, okay, our guys are going to be there next week, knowing that they haven't finished the other job. And I'm ringing the site supervisor going, guys, you've got to get to this other job. We haven't finished this job. And they go, no, I don't care. You've got to get there. And so you just ended up disappointing so many people. I would dread the phone. I would dread new customers because I knew that I'm going to tell them that they are going to actually be quite possibly 4 months away, and I really, really dreaded it. And it was one of the biggest stresses of my life at that time. And so I took it to this business session, and they said, that's not a problem. Like, have you ever been to a restaurant that is so good that you have to book for like a month or 2 months in advance? And I go, yeah, yeah. Well, would that phase you? I was like, no, wouldn't phase me because I want to go to this restaurant. And they go, these people want you to do their landscape because they know you do a good job. And the only thing that is letting them down is the fact that you are saying that you'll be there and you're not there. You do a good job, but you know, and you're actually causing the problem yourself. And they said, all good things come to people that wait. So we've developed this, it's called like a priority construction list. So basically, it's order of book in. And if you've booked in, you go at the end of the line and you wait till you get to the top of the line. And it was the most amazing thing that's ever happened. Like one of the biggest things that's ever happened. Total Station was one, and Dynascape was another, and all this sort of stuff. But this changed my feelings overnight and our customer experience overnight, because people, and we keep in contact with them every 2 weeks to say, oh, yep, you're climbing the ladder, and when you get to number 4, our operations manager will come out, he'll do a walkthrough, and there's a whole process within it. But it just changed. Everyone goes, oh, I know that I'm going to have to wait 6 months, but it's worth it, and now I say, if somebody's coming in 2 weeks, I wouldn't be getting them because they're either doing what I used to do or they're not very good at what they do. So it was amazing. And that all came out. And the guy that recommended that was a pharmacist. So he wasn't even in my industry, and he literally changed, and it wasn't even a part of the session. It was just, we were chatting, like I'd voiced my problem, and we were all doing this workshop, and we were chatting over dinner, and he goes, I think you need to be like a hatted restaurant. You just put them in the line. And when they get to the top of the line, and the other thing we say is, when you'll go in the line, but when you get to the top of the line, our guys will turn up and they will not leave. If you want us to do something extra and we're still on site and it's not going to take, we don't have to order the materials and it's going to be a wait to take the materials, we won't leave. And everyone knows that. And so sometimes, yours might be pushed out a little bit more, but but you're still in that second place. But as soon as we've finished that design, that construction will come to you, and we will not leave until you are completely happy, handover signed, and off we go. And honestly, overnight that changed. We are no longer the quintessential tradies that let you down. We will not let you down. You will wait for us, but we will not let you down, which, yep. And that's just one thing that a business coach has done. So that's why, and just, there's highlights which you share with your business coach, but there's always lowlights, and they're often the ones that you'll turn to and go, oh my God, what's happened? And sometimes they can't fix it, but they're there anyway, because, Nigel and I, it's lonely, like when you don't have somebody to bounce those ideas off. So yeah, I would not run a business without a business coach.
Yeah, it helps having someone keep you accountable as well.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
And last question for you, Kath, is who do you think would be a good guest to have in the podcast?
Oh, I heard this question on some of your other podcasts, and I actually thought about it. We have this guy. He's actually in our town, and we go to the gym with him. His name's Brenton Climb. I don't know if you know him. He's the Aussie lawn
Oh, yeah,
guy,
yeah. I've heard.
and yeah, he- you will not find a man that's more passionate about his turf. He has the most amazing turf in the town. People talk about it. People drive about, ask about it. We opened our garden to the local garden in the local garden show, and we were talking about how we knew him. And these like grown men were saying, "Can I get his number? I love that guy." And so yeah, I was thinking about it. I think that he'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've had a couple of lawnies on, so
Oh,
it's
have
always
you?
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're very passionate about what they do, and there's a
Yes,
lot of people interested in what they do as well, so they can learn about for their own place.
absolutely. Yeah, that's why I love lawn like guys or people because they are so passionate about it. Like
Yeah.
and yeah, love it. Yeah. So anyway, that's who I thought.
Well, can't thank you enough for coming on. It's one of the joys of doing the podcast is I used to get worried about talking to people who I didn't know because I thought, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about or how they're going to
Yeah,
go." But yes, like discovering your business and seeing how diverse it is and just how it's
yeah,
insane. I've been in the industry a long time and you think you've seen everything and then you come across a business like yours which is completely different to everything else. So
yeah,
yeah, absolutely love chatting to you. So thank you very much for coming
yeah.
on.
You too. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah, we're very excited. So yeah, who knows what's to come?